going to go to prison, or you can, if you violate your probation, you're going to prison.
Yeah.
If not, you got to either go to school full time or find a job full time. That's one of your conditions.
Yeah.
And because of the case, I couldn't join the Marines like I was always fantasized about. Like my dad was a Marine.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I wasn't working anywhere I felt was realistic. So I was like, man, what the heck am I going to do? I was really terrified. Seriously, just really kind of freaked out, not knowing what the hell I'm going to do. And I just kind of like looked at my life in a real logical way. Just being 18 years old, man, I'm like, what have I been doing the most in my life? It's like, I'm a decent skater, but I'm probably never going to go pro. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a decent writer, but I can't get into university to get some training.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I've been cooking all my life, and this great chefs of the world. It's like, there's a culinary school in Scottsdale. You know what I mean? So I decided to go to culinary school.
Cool, man.
And I remember, seriously, this is funny. Like, I got all my uniform. I went to this uniform shop in Central Phoenix somewhere. And, mind you, I'm a skate rat and street skating and all that stuff. And
yeah.
I put on my uniform. I'm getting ready, and I put on my neckerchief. I don't know really how to tie it, but I put it on. Got my checks on. Got my whites on. No hat. But I walk out, and I look in the mirror, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Like, who's this dweeb? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't all proud of it right off the bat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was like, what the heck? But I was like, all right, this is the uniform, and this is what I got to do now. You know? So I just kind of just went into it blindly like that, man, out of pure necessity.
Gotcha.
But when I got in, I realized I really liked it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It was a whole different fucking world that I wasn't prepared for.
What culinary school was it?
It was Scottsdale Community College.
Scottsdale. Yeah.
They've got a decent program there, even back in the day when I went. But I was fortunate because I was working at nighttime.
Yeah.
I was working, my first line cooking job was at the country club at DC Ranch for Chef Chris Olson and his sous chef, Mike Rasconi. I didn't know that they were really hardcore chefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just assumed it was my first job.
Yeah.
This is how all kitchens are. You know what I mean? And so we're doing stuff at school in the daytime. We're doing better stuff at night. And so I got both environments going.
Yeah.
I'm in school 17 credit hours a day. Then I'm line cooking at night full time. And so it got to the point where I was going and going and going. Then I broke my ankle skateboarding.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I was like, man, I got to make a decision again. I'm going to choose work because I'm learning more at work anyway.
Yeah.
So I left school. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I got my cook certificate, but I didn't get the AAS, right?
Gotcha.
So I just decided, man, screw it. I'm going to be like a journeyman. I'm just going to stick with it, climb through the ranks because I'm seeing it around me.
Yeah.
And so, but that was the first job. And I would stay there about 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Did you, obviously you worked all the stations, right?
Yeah, I did. I started off on the oven. Again, dude, I'm just, straight res kid. Don't know anything about employability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like showing up late, calling out, and, they let me go once or twice, and they brought me back. It was very seasonal, but it was full time. And so, like, I made some mistakes, and they could see in me what I couldn't see. You know what I mean? I was organized. I liked it. I worked clean.
Yeah.
I could keep up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I did work all the stations there. I started off in the pantry or garde manger, getting my ass kicked there, and having these line cooks from all over the country fuck with me, and you know what I mean? Not really prepared for that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I got moved.
because like your first instinct, because you grew up on the street, you're like, I'll fucking hit you right now, And it's like, oh shit, you can't do that. You're at work,
Yeah, and then on top of that, you're getting stuff with all these ideals from school.
Yeah.
Of excellence, perfection,
Yeah.
all this like perfect world shit. So at night I'm thinking this is not matching up. You know what I mean? but so I would stay there. I worked the coal station, then they had a wood burning oven, the exhibition station. Worked that station. I came in and worked the grill.
Yeah.
After one of those moments where I got let go, then I came back. I was working a snack shop in the golf shop.
Gotcha.
So I was doing all kinds of hot dogs, sandwiches, working a griddle. It was really busy. You know what I mean? So I'm cutting my teeth on the snack bar area, and then I move into banquets. And we did all kinds of great plated functions, all kinds of really great opulent buffets and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot in banquets and mass production. We were doing 300, 400, 500, 800, 1,000 covers in banquets. You know what I mean? And so, but I really wanted to get back on the line because I hadn't got to the grill station yet. and I had my eye on the saute station because
Gotcha.
the dudes that were working the saute station, man, they were like, I was watching them from the garde-manger, and I'm like, I want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would see dudes that were all good at like searing fish, and I remember this one guy one time. His name was Chuck Hartz. He had 2 salmon searing in his pan, and it was slamming. I was in the weeds on the garde-manger. They were pounding on the grill.
Yeah.
And I just happened to look over right when he looked over at his salmon. He just looked over and he hit it like that. He hit the pan, and both of them flipped. And then
Perfectly.
landed. He turned around and kept plating. I was like, what the fuck? That was like a kickflip down 10 stairs. You know what I mean? I was like, hell yeah, I want to do that, you know?
That's dope.
And plus all the really delicate sauces, the fumés, the stocks, a lot of that really neat, refined stuff was coming off saute, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were, the grill and the saute guy were really hand in hand, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I really wanted to learn all that stuff. So I eventually was able to get out of banquets and out of the snack shop and back on the line, doing lunch and then working the grill at lunch and then move back to nights and then back on saute.
Gotcha. So 5 whole years there, on and off, let's say.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
and what made you want to leave that place?
Every year from the time I got into culinary school, my chef instructor, Michael Whalen, he was like the most hardcore dude at the school.
Yeah.
Everybody hated him but loved him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
He was one of those hardcore dudes. And so he always had this really professional demeanor about him. He was always disciplined. He did like the hot foods at night.
Yeah.
And he was like a veteran of this place in the valley called Mary Elaine's at the Phoenician.
Okay.
And at the time, I think it was Alessandro Strada started Mary Elaine's, was the first chef there at the Phoenician. And then it was Jimmy Boyce was there. And then during that time, I think my chef instructor was there right in that transition phase of Alessandro Strada and James Boyce. But he would tell war stories about that place. Like, if you're going to work and you're going to train and you're really serious about this, this is the place where you want to go.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you just keep trying to get in there. And he would tell that to the whole class. And to me, I'm looking at this stuff like a fine art or like kung fu. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm gonna go on the journey.
Who's your
you know
next
what I mean?
master?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And so from 98, 99, 2000, 2001, and finally at the end of 2001, I would apply like 2 or 3 times every year. I go up to the temple because it's way at the top of the 5th floor at the Phoenician Resort on Camelback Mountain. Really opulent, really classical, old school French spot. They got like the grand award for Wine Spectator magazines, 5-star mobile, 5-star Zagat. You know what I mean? And everything. It's just like a whole different world, man. And to me, that's the language I want to learn to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, that's my ticket to go to Spain. You know what I mean? To me, that's my ticket to go to France. To me, that's my ticket to leave America, is learning classical foundation. You know what I mean? Because I was seeing it, the more I was learning about kitchen culture, all the messaging I was getting at the time, like in the 90s, was like, you got to go to France. You got to go to France. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what my mindset was on. So I would always go and apply and apply and apply. And here's what I remember as a young cook. I remember the sous chefs having this steely-eyed look in their eyes, like DPS officers, you know, like highway patrol officers, or like drill instructors. Like seriously, that cold look in their eye. They would look at me and say, you know, kindly tell me to, you know, get lost, or we'll call you. But it wasn't until I was working at the country club at DC Ranch for one of our sous chefs there. His name was, we called him Rusty. Real hardcore dude from South Carolina, badass. Shout out Rusty if you're listening. I was sitting, we were doing a cater out at that DC Ranch place, and I was sitting there. We're breaking down. It was kind of busy. We're just waiting, and I was sitting there reading the French Laundry Cookbook.
Gotcha.
It had just came out. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting there like, damn, man, this is so fucking cool. Like, can you cook like this, chef? And he was like, you know what? He's like, if you're going to cook like that, you got to be with those kind of people. You can't just do that shit from books.
Yeah.
He's like, close the book and get you, let's fucking break down, you know? And then so I put my book away and we just keep breaking down and doing the cater out. Then he comes back around and says, hey man, you really want to cook like that? You think you can? I'm like, fuck yeah, I can cook like, I want to cook like that, you know? I don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
But I see all these images in the French Laundry Cookbook that I'm like, holy shit, this is beautiful. This is like, I think every cook in our generation can identify to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he comes up to me, I think a couple days later, and says, hey, call this number, you know, and get a stage. I'm like, what's a stage? You know, he's like, you'll work for free, you know?
Yeah.
You just go in and observe. And so I was like, oh, shit. But so I was like, damn, It was that easy because he knew someone who was there inside Mary Lane's that was working, and so he got a stage hooked up. And it was just after Thanksgiving. I remember it because I remember talking to who would become my partner on the meat station.
Gotcha.
He's like, what's going on? He's just telling me, real soft-spoken, real soft-spoken, real professional. He's just telling me what was going on. And he said, come on in, just bring your knives and whatever, and we'll do the deal. Yeah. And so I went in and I staged 2 nights. It was mind-blowing. Everything was amazing. I was just a fly on the wall turning stuff and working as best I could. Yeah. And at the end of the second night, the chef, he came up and took me out of the dining room and offered me a position. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the fuck? And on the inside, I was like, all I could do was say, yes, chef. I was like, yes, I'll take it, Yeah. And then he's like, okay, good. He's like, when can you start? And I was like, tomorrow. Yeah. And he's like, no, do it right. Take 2 or 3 weeks, let your chef know. Yeah. And make the transition. I was like, you sure? I can start tomorrow, He's like, no, do it right, So that's how it happened. It just was like, I knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy. After I had tried all those years to try to get in, and it was another chef that vouched for someone young like me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Dope.
And that was like him. That was my intro to the world of how we do shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So what was your first position there?
I was an entremetier on the meat station.
Oh my God. That's your first station?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, bro. You got destroyed probably.
I got my ass kicked. Seriously, on the first day I started, I walk into this really opulent dining room sitting. I went the wrong way. You know what I mean? I went through the public elevator.
The front door.
Yeah. You know what I mean? No,
motherfucker. You work here now. Get your ass in the back.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And all those years I was at the country club with the chefs there, I took a lot of pride in the set of tools I built up. So I carried a big black toolbox. Yeah. And I showed up and met my partner. And he was like, he was sitting there turning something. He was on the veg and he was working. He looks over. He's like, oh, hey, you're here. I was like, all right, yeah. I said, I'm here. Where can I put this? And he takes it and he looks down at it. He looks at me. He goes and he opens the toolbox. He takes out my paring knife, takes out my steel, takes out my peeler, and takes out my chef knife. Yeah. He closes the box and throws it in the fucking trash, man.
That was your intro?
He's like, you ain't gonna need none of this shit. I was like, what the fuck? I just grabbed it and I stashed it way in the back in the prep room under the workbench. You know what I mean? But
that's awesome.
That was funny. But yeah, it was entremetier, and as you can imagine, Arizona, meat and potatoes. The meat station was pretty busy. Yeah. Really slamming. I was getting my ass kicked by some Dauphinois tomatoes, Yeah. I caused a train wreck like a motherfucker because I ran out of pomme puree, like those Ducasse style puree, like half butter.
The Robichon?
Yeah, man. Like
you ran out, bro.
I ran out. I thought I had my backups on my backups on my backups, but my third 6 pan got confused with some Cipollinis.
Yeah.
And I just
you didn't look at it.
I
didn't
look.
Oh, got him.
I got him. Yep. Boom, boom, boom. Meat, fish, hot apps, pastry.
And I bet you didn't find out till they were going on the pickup. Where's
the
potato puree? What?
They were like, what the fuck? I was like, it was crazy, man. That was like a traumatic event. Yeah, you know what I mean?
You're still reeling from it till today.
Yeah, but it took me a while because like that being at that level for the first time ever. It was like, it's true. You unlearn stuff to learn. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
My notion of making a gnocchi was way different from how they made gnocchi. You know what I mean? And so I really had to like take a step back and realize everything that I thought I was good at the country club, I was mediocre at in this spot. Yeah. And just really take the hits and just really try to focus and drive. It was the first time I got to see real like coursed out tasting menus and simultaneous a la carte. They had a chef's table there where 6 to 8 or 10 people could sit and watch us cook. Yeah, it was just amazing.
Just getting roasted in front of the chef's table.
Everything. It was it was really tough. Yeah, it was really tough.
I used to think that the chef's table, like, they look at you. They don't look at you. They don't give a fuck about you. They're just like in their own little thing until you come up there. Yeah. And even then, I've done service at the counter at the restaurant. Yeah, Meadowood, and they're like. They don't even stop talking. I'm like, why'd you come here to eat, bro? Yeah, you don't even give a fuck about any of this. You're just, you're just throwing your money around.
Right.
And then how long do you end up at that second spot?
Well, I was on entremetier for about I think about 6 months.
Yeah.
And my partner on the meat station, the saucier, he had just spent a couple of years at the laundry with Thomas Keller back in, when Grant was there, all the people were there, Chef was there, always at the stove. So he was a real hardcore part of that OG team at the laundry, right? And so I was like, holy shit, this guy has been at the laundry, so I'm really doing my best to keep up with this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm really like terrified of him too at the same time.